All right.
So we're rolling, yeah?
So yeah, let's talk about the happenings. The big news yesterday. YouTube decided that they are going to combat hateful content on YouTube and just ban it outright. Before they talked about this with hate, they would put the videos into limited state so that you could only view the videos if you had the direct link. And once you had the direct link, you were unable to see how many views or comments or ratings. You were not able to see any of that. But now they just said they're going to delete it outright. So is this to help combat hate, or is it to prevent freedom?
You know, it's more than just controlling hate. You know, it's straight up censorship at this point. You know, there's no ultimatum. It's, you know, one strike and you're out most of the times.
Yeah.
They're not giving any leeway, no notice. And it's gotten to the point right now where content creators that aren't even talking about like radical subjects are getting their channels completely not only demonetized but suspended and shut down with no explanation.
People without any strikes at all are being taken down.
It's pretty serious. It's a direct attack on our liberties, on our freedoms, and it's gotten to the point now where, personally, I think we're almost going to need a complete, site change. We're going to have to completely change our, our motives and our platform, because if we continue using YouTube, this is just going to continue happening. We're going to keep being controlled. It's either that we completely change it up, or we all band together and start some sort of petition. Not that that might do anything anyway, because this is a monolith of a company. That being said, YouTube is a perfect platform to reach people. You know, people that are in the middle of the woods can post a video on YouTube and reach people all around the world and get their message out there. And that's what's really important. That's what YouTube was founded upon. But now we're at a point where it's a critical point where, is it really a platform where you can express your feelings and get a point across and tell the world about you and what's going on? Or is it just a controlled media outlet for corporations to pay into big, money-making accounts to further their profit?
It is controlled. And in their blog, they even said that they want to have authoritative sources at the top. They don't want independent journalists talking about well-documented events. That's what they say. So, I mean, any event in the world today could be said as well documented because it's reported on, CNN and Fox and wherever else. So we're not allowed to talk about these things anymore. We're not allowed to even question the official narrative of what the media tells us. They literally take that down now. And I don't want to give up on YouTube because YouTube is, it does have a lot of potential. It has been good for many years. But there are alternative platforms to go to, which is good. But we shouldn't give up on YouTube just yet, because that's what they want. That's why they're doing this. That's why they're taking down channels. That's why they're banning people and removing videos, because they don't want us on there. That's the whole point. So we can't just leave YouTube, because that'd be giving them what they want. And a lot of these alternative sites, they're mainly just filled with conspiracy videos and just an echo chamber of people who already know about this content. It's not reaching anybody new, like on YouTube. So a lot of people are talking about giving up on YouTube and going to other sites entirely. And I disagree with that. We need to fight to the end, keep putting out content until we can't, until they totally ban us completely, until we're just totally censored entirely. But it's not going to work. We could change our IP addresses, we could keep putting up these videos. They could take them down, with their AI really quickly, but we're not going to stop. We could just keep posting it.
That's truly what it's about, perseverance, staying true to the message, preaching truth and living in truth. And if you're spreading truth consistently, it ultimately prevails. And people can't deny truth forever. It will catch up to society and the world. And, it'll just take time. And we really just need, I think, in this moment, in this age, to band together and really stand for truth and talk about it with one another. That's truly what this is all about. I've said it for the longest time. It's all about maintaining conversation. That's all I want. That's all anyone really should desire. This social media age we're living in, this instant gratification age, is robbing people of all of their social interactions, and it's controlling it to, put on the blinders on a horse, only see what they want you to see. And I'm done with that. I'm fed up. We need to talk about what's going on in the world. We need to be on the same page as a species, as human species. We need to know what is up, And until that happens, we're just going to be living in this fairy tale that they're painting.
You brought up a good point earlier, like, for instance, the war on terror created more terror. The war on drugs created more drugs. So what is this war on on hate speech can create. It's causing a lot of people to be hateful.
Truly.
People are hating that they're being censored, and that's not going to help. They're not going to hide. They're not just going to stop, having alternative beliefs.
No, and getting angry is truly what they want.
Yeah.
They want you to get angry. Oh, you're canceling. Oh, you had all these subscribers. You had all this community, this beautiful community you created. We're going to take that away from you. And you're going to get angry. That justifies what we did. You can't get angry at this. You need to fight their hate with love. Because if you do that, it's not a fight at all anymore. It's not a fight.
Mm-hmm.
Truly.
And it's actually trending on Twitter right now. Vox adpocalypse is what this is being called, because apparently the backstory is there was, Steven Crowder, the guy who's like changed my mind. He goes to universities. He's a conservative, right? And he basically called this gay Vox writer, he said he was a fag. So therefore, since he has this big media presence, Vox is being funded hundreds of millions of dollars by NBC, Universal, Comcast. They went and took him down. I mean, they literally demonetized his channel, even though he has millions of supporters and followers and views.
It's insane, listen, I'm all for, speaking words of wisdom, right? And saying kind things to elevate people.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, without darkness, there can't be light. I'm not saying we need to have all of this hateful shit, right? But we can't take it away from them, let them be idiots. Let them say stupid shit. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to do anyone with the right mind harm. And we need to build a community to be able to build people's minds up to be in the right state. And with all this censorship, it's, who's to dictate where anyone should be mentally? No one's perfect in this world, right? So these media entities, they definitely they know what's best for us. I think it's ridiculous to ultimately believe that, because clearly they're only in for their own selfish gain. And that being said, with saying slanderous speech, obviously, it's not cool. It's not righteous. It's definitely not from a place of love. It's from a place, their lack of love, but at the same time, we just need, it's a misinterpretation.
So how do we help them?
I think truly
by banning them.
By banning them, no.
No.
I think we need to come together as a community and have a heart-to-heart. That's really what it's all about. It's communication, right?
Yeah.
It's having conversation with one another and trying to come to a place of agreement. In the end of the day,
It doesn't even need to be in agreement. As long as they can understand their perspective, it would ease a lot of the tension.
Understanding one another.
And we could find common ground, at least. Because I'm sure even with the Nazis and whatever, I'm sure you could find common ground with them on some subject. And hopefully we could build off of there.
I mean,
as long as they're not, trying to kill people, they could think, they hate this certain group or whatever. But as long as they're not actively trying to hurt them, then okay.
I mean, we're all humans. Some people have some sick ideas, but that's our belief of what is sick. I think in this universe, it's a crazy, crazy place. But at the end of the day, we're all humans, and we need to come together as humans and find common ground. That's really important.
That's it. I mean, finding common ground. We are all human, the human race, the human family. So much division right now. It's another hot topic. They're trying to promote a straight pride parade, and they want it to have all the same rights that the gay pride parade has had. So setting up the flag and the city hall, closing down the streets and having a march and all this kind of stuff. And they don't want to do that, and it's just causing more division, more problems, and it should be about equality, right? That's what this is all about. We should be accepting of people who aren't harming people, right? If they're not hurting anybody, then sure, be you. But they're trying to crack down on this and put people in a box and suppress their beliefs just for being who they are. So people are saying that it should be LGBTQ and then S for straight, so that we're all inclusive. That's what they want. They want it to be an inclusive platform. That's what YouTube is saying, inclusivity. So we should be a part of this, thing. It should be about us as humans, not just one group, and then the other group. Oh well, you're not as oppressed, you could say. So you're not allowed to have that kind of same thing that they have. That's kind of hypocrisy, right?
Truly it is. On a fundamental level, I understand where these people are coming from, and that's what it's all about.
And I support
understanding them, of course. I think it'd be ludicrous not to support them. They're obviously not causing anybody harm. They just want to be themselves, and that's a beautiful thing. Yeah. But we should truly be fighting for equality, like you said, among all people. No matter what your race, ethnicity, or sexual orientation is, it shouldn't matter. appreciate who you are, right? But don't oppress another person in the process, And I can't say that I have been necessarily oppressed as a person, and I'm grateful for that privilege that I've been given. I truly am. I don't take it for granted. But with this privilege, it's hard to speak up about these topics without people coming to an immediate emotional reaction and a belief as to where you lie in all of this. It's hard to talk freely in this day and age about anything, and it's a shame because it's a really important thing. It's just to have a conversation.
Yeah, if we're not allowed to talk about the controversial topics, then what are we allowed to talk about?
Truly, they want you to fit in this little box.
Yeah.
They want you to fit in their mold, and without that, they don't want you to be a part of the system, this game that they've created, and they being these platforms, YouTube, Facebook, whatever. I think in the end of the day, if we're not able to talk about everything, obviously we're not allowed to talk about anything. And it's mind-boggling. It truly is, because it's gotten to the point in time where people are afraid. We're walking around on eggshells. We walk outside and we're afraid to have conversations with our fellow humans because we might say the wrong thing. And like that's normal. And everyone's like, why do I feel so anxious? Why am I so riddled with fear? And it's because of this systematic conditioning that we've been presented with. Growing up on the internet, that's all we've experienced, and very, very inoften are we just thrown into a mixing pot of cultures and able to get along with everyone. There's for some reason always tension, and people are always like, well, that's just in human nature, and it's absolute bullshit. That is social conditioning, and that is nurture versus nature. That is not in our DNA. We are not born into hate, It's just not how it is.
A lot of people will disagree with that and say that, you are born with hate, you're born with sin.
Mm-hmm.
You take two babies and give them one toy, they're going to fight over that toy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure.
Well, they might indeed. You can have a baby that's going to push you, they're going to push you. They don't know any better. That's my thoughts on this.
Uh-huh.
And I think that a lot of that argument, because they always bring up they're going to fight over that toy, that's a scarcity thing. And our system is based on scarcity, the money system. I bet if there were 100 toys around these babies, and they were the same exact toy, they wouldn't be fighting over it as much. Sure, animalistic, I have, pets, and they, they want to fight over the same food feeder, right, even though it's the same one over there. So it's just because they're basic, they're very simple in the sense that they haven't been developed yet.
Mm-hmm.
They can't comprehend that this is the same thing, and, they want what the other person has. That's the grass is greener, right?
Truly. I think it's more so in the fact that it's instinctual to train these fighting tendencies in a playful way, not in like an animalistic obsessive way like people think about their material goods. For example, like babies, they might fight over the same toy, but what is it truly based upon? Like, is it because they want the toy, or is it because that other baby is a different color skin than him? They don't have these conditioned. Yeah,
that's a good point. I mean, I've never seen a baby wanting to attack a baby because its skin color was different, or it was.
That's what I'm saying. I think honestly, babies. A lot of people think they're limited and stuff, but like if you've ever like seen a baby, dude, and look into their eyes, dude, I think they're more awake. They're more woke, right?
Because in some ways,
they've been less conditioned by society to view things the way that a normal, civilized society would. That's neither here nor there. I think institutionalized conditioning is very apparent. We see it all over the media. You see it all over different entertainment channels and schools. It's subconsciously taught. And at this point in time, if we're not willing to break away and start changing that system and evolving it, we're just going to be stagnant. We're going to be like a still pool of water. And it's going to start being infested with mosquitoes, and that's just how it goes. In nature, that's just the way it is. Unless you're moving and evolving and growing, you're just going to rot.
Truly, truly. We do need to evolve. We got to realize that the way things were before are going to change. I'm all for conserving, and I'm also for liberating. We need to have a certain balance of what we want. And we really could have what we want as long as it's not in excess where it's hurting other people. Like, say, I want all the food in the world. Well, that's not going to happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we need a certain balance where people could get their needs met, and then we could go up from there. But to go back from controversial topics, the hot topic, they limp conspiracy theories with white nationalists. And let me break this down. America, these people that want to be white nationalists, they want America to be a white nation, they're kind of misguided. They don't really understand the history of this country because it, wasn't originally white people, right? White people are indigenous to Europe, that area, right? And a lot of these European countries, they are nationalists. They are very much so pro-nationalists, and they are white. Therefore, they're white nationalists, and that talk is being banned on the mainstream media and YouTube. And it's very interesting. My family, they come from Hungary, as an example. They are very much so nationalists. They don't want immigrants coming in from different places. They don't know their culture. They don't know their history. And I don't see a problem with that. So what's wrong with being a nationalist for your white European country? That is being banned. And just for me saying this, they're going to be like, oh, well, you're bigoted. You need to allow, all these other people. They have their own little place, right? We all have a place where we came from. And just because that certain other countries started a war in these places doesn't mean that they should come to a whole nother place that wasn't involved with the people that started the war or this. So I'm all for helping people, refugees, but there is something about, having your own home, right? And you have your way of life there that's been that way for hundreds, thousands of years, and they don't want that to change. And that should be okay, right?
I mean,
what do you think?
To an extent. Personally, I don't necessarily align my beliefs with, nationalism.
Me neither.
Yeah, like, I think, people should be allowed to roam wherever they want, regardless of your race or ethnicity. Yeah, it's good to have culture, but it's such a temperamental thing. Do you think, like, trees and, like, subspecies of plants have culture?
Well, it's like history.
Yeah, and that's totally righteous and, like, important. It is. But, like, to preserve that is, I think, the true importance in an inscripted way. To say that someone can't come in here because it'll fuck our culture up is, like, in my opinion, it's counterproductive. Like, let's just, for an example, if I moved to Mexico and had a child with a pure-blooded Mexican woman, right? Would that baby be Mexican then?
Partly.
It would,
Yeah.
but it would, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so how many generations would it have to pass before there was no white or whatever German, Russian, Polish in their blood whatsoever?
Yeah, I mean, it would always be there, right?
What if that baby that 10 generations down the line came back to America? Well, I'm American, so it's lost in translation. It's lost. It's
People
like a game
are
of
too
telephone.
focused on that, I do think, their own race, right? I don't really think there is race because they draw these different borders on different places.
Exactly.
It's basically humans developing in a certain area for a certain time. And that's fine. You should be happy, that you have these people around you, your family and friends that have been here. Because most people, going back 100 years, they didn't travel like we do today. Most people stayed in one place, one town their whole life. So they want to preserve that, and
And I respect that. I would totally respect that. And I think disparaging a certain type of person because they're a certain hue of skin or whatever is ignorant, truly. And I don't think anyone with the right mind is willing to argue that. But I think it really comes down to, like you said, they're afraid of these people because they don't understand them, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, that's really what it comes down to.
They're trying to ban them.
They are banning them. They are banning them. But they're saying because they're bringing crime, they're bringing poverty into their nation. But why? I think we need to address the root of the problem. Why are these people bringing poverty into their nation? Is it because your nation doesn't have a system set up to take care of these people, or are they truly just bad people, right? I think if we actually took the time to understand and tolerate other cultures and people, that we would realize we could take care of everyone. There's more than enough resources to go around for every single person. It's just not profitable in this day and age, and that's a problem. There's more than enough money. There's more than enough money to go around. Unfortunately, it's just not getting distributed in the correct allocation.
That should show that there's something wrong with the system itself, because a lot of the reason they don't want to build a wall to stop Mexicans coming in because they're taking our jobs. Shouldn't that show that there's something wrong with the system? If all of a sudden there were, hundreds of thousands of more people, then all of a sudden the economy would collapse. That's going to happen eventually as the population grows. So, where's the balance here?
Yeah, I think if you blame the people instead of looking back and taking a step back and looking at the bigger picture and truly addressing the system that finds them problematic, you're just going to have a temperamental issue until it gets changed.
Yeah, it's not a solution.
No,
banning
truly
people.
not. truly not a solution. It's a temporal problem to a permanent. It's a temporal solution to a permanent problem. You know, and I'm not saying these people are the problem, and that's truly the point I'm trying to make. They're not the problem.
The system is a problem because it's unable to have people. I mean, most people are just trying to survive, and you know, we're supposed to be this advanced, you know, species where we're able to create all this amazing stuff. Yet, you know, all this technology are totally amazing, right? It's mind blowing. Most people can't even comprehend the technology that we have today. Yet, most people are just struggling to survive. Isn't there a huge disconnect there? There's something horribly wrong if that's the case. Where we have technology that would be considered magic 100 years ago.
Seriously.
It's blowing people's minds and we just take it for granted now. And most people are just trying to survive. They're just struggling to pay their bills.
Yeah, still a majority of people are struggling to put food on their family's table.
Yeah.
But they have like crazy satellite technology that could read your watch from outer space. Come on, that is ridiculous. You know, we have more than enough capability to take care and make sure every single person on this planet has a food, has a house, has food and water. And I think the reason that these people aren't getting that is because there's someone that has access to these funds, to this technology, that just doesn't want these people to survive. And I think that's the bottom line. We're always talking about overpopulation. That's the number one thing on, you know, on the media when we're referring to humanity and the human population. There's too many people here. There's not enough room. You know, there's more than enough places.
And that justifies all this war.
And that
justifies all these people starving. Oh, there's too many people, you know, let them die. It's kind of messed up. There's no reason for people to be starving. I actually was just in New York last week, and actually they had an advertisement on one of the you know, bus stands, and it said that 40% of this country's food goes to waste. And that's true. It's really ridiculous that there's people starving, you know, laying in the street next to that advertisement as people throw out the food in the dumpster right next to them.
And like, yeah, a quarter left of a sandwich, like I understand, you know, put that into the mulch or whatever.
Even that, I mean, there's just so much food that goes to waste.
No, truly, like packaged food.
Yeah, so your one little you know, scraps you throw away, you shouldn't feel that bad because it's not the individual that's causing this, it's the corporations that are actually causing this issue with food waste.
Well, so we're in a world where they're money hungry, they're penny pinching. You know, these big companies, they're afraid they're going to get sued. That's why in places like France, they do that. They donate their extra food. They don't have a 40% you know, waste
amazing.
rate. That's absurd that we have 40% of our food production annually thrown away, completely wasted. That's almost half of it. That's almost half of the food that everyone eats.
Yeah, meanwhile, people
Garbage.
are complaining about people being on food stamps because that comes from the taxpayers, right? I mean, it doesn't make any sense, does
It's
it?
ridiculous, and you're taking advantage of the government, you know. But like, that's neither here nor there. I think that is a big problem for sure. But you know, we need to start focusing on more renewable resources, and that's something no one can deny.
Oh, we
you
have
know,
it.
Relying on oil and these non-renewable resources is digging our grave deeper and deeper and deeper. You know, we need to invest in vertical farms. We need to rely on solar, wind, and water power.
Yes.
And unless we're able to do that soon,
And we are able to.
and we are able to, unless we actually do it, unless we all band together and push, and we all need to make this movement together.
Yes.
We need to come together as a unified, beautiful species and make this push together. We're just going to fall into that grave that we've been digging for millennia.
Yeah, and another example, let's say the richest man on earth, right? Apparently, they say, Jeff Bezos. What is he doing with his money? He makes, I think, like $1 billion, like every so often, very recent. Like
He makes a
I
lot
don't even know
of
the
money.
statistics, but it's just huge. It's massive.
Yeah.
And he's using this money not to help the less fortunate. Okay, it's his personal decision, but he's using it to go into outer space, to leave the planet. He wants rich people to leave the planet so they could colonize Mars or wherever else. That's what these richest people in the world are doing, right? And it's kind of ridiculous. Shouldn't we try to help Earth first? You know, we're talking about climate change all the time. Why aren't we focused on that? And, you know, the climate always changes. You know, there's been ice ages and warm periods throughout history.
Global fires.
And that's another point, right? They want to blame us for the food waste, right? When it's the corporations doing this. Same thing with climate change, or, you know, let's say pollution, to be more clear. Pollution. They want to blame us for having a car or whatever, when it's the corporations that are causing way more pollution. And now they're talking about the solution for this pollution is carbon taxes. And they were talking about in Canada, they didn't even want to use the word taxes because it kind of has negative
connotation.
Yeah. But that's what it is. And they're going to put it on us. So all of a sudden your taxes for your work, you pay taxes on everything, you're going to see a little extra percent come out for the carbon tax. And that is going to be ridiculous.
It's already
when
ridiculous.
It's not because of us. You know, we're living in this system where we don't have any choice but to be in the system really and fund these corporations. Like, all right, you don't want to shop at Walmart, but where are you going to get your stuff? Like, you're buying the same stuff whether you shop at Target or CVS or Walgreens or, you know, ShopRite or whatever supermarkets by you. It's all the same products. So it all comes back to them. Like, we got to buy these products to have food, right? So, I mean, yeah, we could go off the grid, start our own farm, and we should do that, and people are doing that. We shouldn't have to rely on these corporations, because people talk about the elite, right? The 101% or whatever, you know, how many zeros. We don't need ExxonMobil. We don't need them at all. And they're what I believe one of, if not the most richest company. We don't need them. We have these alternatives. So if you want to get rid of the elite, stop relying on them, or at least pressure them, talk to them, being like, hey, why aren't you doing this? You don't need to be doing this. You know, you're causing all this pollution, causing all this waste. We just got to be more open, because the media is the one that's controlling people's minds. Richard Nixon even said the American people will not believe anything until they see it on television. And it's true. If the media comes out and says, oh, we need to do this, people are just going to go along with it without question, and that is very dangerous. And then they have the alternative media like Vox and Vice, which are funded by the mainstream media. People think they're alternative, but they're not. Doing the same thing. It's putting people's minds, steering them in this direction where the corporations aren't as bad as they want you to think. They want to put the blame on the individual, and we do need to take personal responsibility. But we need to be more open that there's a bigger picture here.
Mm-hmm. You know, and I've talked to so many people, and when they talk about money with me, it's a very sensitive issue. No one wants to talk money.
Yeah,
you
right.
know, it's personal. You know, and I see a lot of content creators out there on Instagram, YouTube, talking about, you know, manifestation of wealth and abundance. And, you know, they say if you center yourself and get your internal okay and, like, balanced and regulated, that your external will reflect that. And, like, yes, that is true. But someone living in an impoverished third world country doesn't have that chance to just center themselves. Not all the time. They don't really have access to the community that supports it 100% of the time. You know, there's so many people fighting to survive, literally fighting. You know, I'm grateful and like I said, I'm privileged to say that I don't have to fight, and I could fight with love, and it's not a fight at all. But there's some people that have no choice. They're born into this poverty and they're forced to fight every single day of their lives. 30,000 children on average die every single day due to hunger. Every single day. That's a statistic. You look that up for yourself.
Yep.
You know, and the fact that things like this are happening, and we're getting so consumed on the news and this and that. Like, terrible things are happening, but like, if you zoom out and see the earth as a big picture, there's horrid things happening every single day that are easily controllable.
Yep.
Things like terrorism, like, yeah, some things like that you can't really prevent, right? But 30,000 children dying every single day due to hunger is easily preventable.
I just got a comment on one of my videos talking about how radical Islamists, right, are actually a real threat, right? They are a big danger. And I looked at the statistics of how many people radical Muslims have killed, and it's extremely tiny. And I did the statistics according to just in America since 9/11, right? Because that was a big one where the radical Muslims attacked us. So not including that, the amount of people that have been killed by radical Muslims officially is less than the amount of people who kill themselves every single day in this country. So what's a bigger threat? Every single day, more people dying from suicide than from radical Muslims for the last 18 years. So what's the bigger danger here? Is it mental health? Because you want to break down radical Islam, it's a mental health issue that these people want to kill people. They read a book or whatever that might have had some discriminatory things in it.
Some influence, yeah.
But it's really their mental health. Mm-hmm. We should be looking at that, because more people are a threat to themselves, even worldwide, not just in America. More people are a danger to their own well-being than terrorists, radical Muslims, or whatever you want to say.
Mm-hmm. And if we lived in a society where we facilitated an environment to help nurture these people back to a point of stability in their lives, people that suffer from mental instability, you know, we could have that in a utopian, you know, in a perfect world. But right now, we don't have the means. You know, we have like outlets that assist, but primarily, you know, 90% of the time, these outlets are just pharmaceutical integrations. You know, they're gonna have you pop some pills and say it'll just get better, just numb yourself to the world. When in reality, we need to not numb ourselves. We need to stop utilizing social media and the TV and all of these processed artificial foods. You know, I'm one to talk. You know, it's a process. I'm smoking vape, right? But it's a process. You need to slowly realize and acknowledge the fact that you're controlled to this material realm, and break apart from that and ground yourself in reality. Find that higher self, right? And guide yourself with that. Because with that, I think truly a society that is built around that, you know, mental health wouldn't be an issue. Yeah, there'd still be people suffering, but there would be a community backing them up to try and be that healing that they desperately need.
It is about freedom, and this war on hate speech, otherwise known as free speech, is a war on freedom. That's what it is. Free speech is hate speech. You know, there's limits to, like, you know, threatening, I want to kill you. That could be legally be misinterpreted. But if you just be like, I hate those people, that's allowed, okay? That is allowed to be, okay? I don't support hate, but I am for freedom, and that's part of it. So.
Truly, you know, and I think if we lived in a world where, you know, we're slowly working towards that utopia that I believe we can reach, there wouldn't be the amount of hate that there is today.
Not at all.
You know, if you're trying to control, you know, that's like, dude, you put a plant in like a little pot, its roots can't grow. You know, you confine it, it'll eventually die. You know, you need to put it in a place where it can grow healthily, and you need to water it and give it love. Otherwise, it's not going to survive, and it's the same thing with society.
That's the environment, right? So you talk about terrorists. If they're in a really desolated, you know, dystopian kind of environment where everything's destroyed around them, and, you know, there's been war and these bombs and all this stuff, are we surprised that these people became hateful and wanted to kill other people?
What other
it
choices
shouldn't
they
be
have?
surprising at all. Like, they're going to be like, well, this is my life, this is everything, this is all I know. If it's all they know, they're just going to become a part of it. You know, that's their environment shaping who we are.
Truly.
So, like you said, it's really, if we have an environment where people aren't struggling to live, where people aren't being influenced by division in the media 24/7, then maybe, just maybe, we would be a more free society, a more unity, more
Unified.
Yeah.
Harmonious.
And we are different, and we're not perfect, but we could do a lot better than we are now. So that's really the point, is to strive to be better.
Absolutely. And, you know, people are going to be like, well, your talk is cheap. How are we going to aspire to achieve these harmonious states? How are we going to do that? It starts with you.
Through talking.
It starts with you. You need to open yourself up to change, balance yourself, meditate, right? And have these types of conversations with people about the future, about where you want to go as a collective, not just independent. I want a Bugatti, I want a big house, I want a beautiful wife, I want kids, I want to live on the lake. These are things that are temporal, right? We need to plan hundreds of years in the future, you know?
We all want nice things, right?
Of course.
But
and we deserve nice things. We all deserve to live in abundance, right? But we need to truly value what abundance is. What is that? Is that 5 houses with a private jet, or are these superficial material needs, you know? If we truly rationalize and stop idealizing people that live lifestyles like this and trying to aspire to this point of existence that's unachievable for most, you know, then we could truly sit back and realize what's truly important, and that's love, friendship, you know, family, and we're all a family. We're all a part of the human family, and that's what's most important. We need to care for all people.
Yeah, we got to break it down. If, you know, not everyone could have a helicopter. People want to aspire to this lifestyle, right? But that's what's causing this extreme division. And we've all heard the statistics. It's like the 1% own more than the 99% combined.
Precisely.
So if it's something, and if that you want, that, you know, if you want a whole country to yourself, you know, that's this kind of old thinking of, like, you know, kings and the ruling class and, you know, the elites, or whatever you want to call these people that have extreme, you know, money, thus power and influence over the world. We can't all have that. So it should show you that shouldn't be our goal. We, like you said, we start within, right? We want to be the change we wish to see. Then what are you going to do about it, right? We got to have these conversations, and by bringing these people together, by having these conversations, then we could be like, all right, what should we do? Well, we should build a vertical farm. We should, you know, set up some solar panels, stuff like that. A small change goes a long way. And it sounds simple, right? Like, oh, well, just vertical farms and solar panels. Yeah, if people weren't struggling to pay their electric bill and getting on food stamps because they can't afford it, then people wouldn't be in this survival mindset where they're unable to develop beyond that, like this very simplistic,
Limited.
What is it called? Animalistic
Yeah.
kind of state of survival where it's just, I need to do this and that. And that's what causes crime. This is what creates crime. All right, sure, there's high class crime, right? You know, the rich are, you know, stealing too. But we're talking like, you know, robberies and, you know, armed stuff like that. They're desperate. They're just trying to survive. And they don't see any other outlet. They're like, all right, what am I going to do? Am I going to work at McDonald's or something when, you know, they're getting replaced by touchscreens now?
And they're planted these seeds by mainstream media. You know, they watch movies, music
yeah,
videos.
yeah.
That, oh, well, this is how these
Ooh, the
famous
Purge.
people
We gotta kill
got
people.
This, yeah, and they get these ideas, these grandiose ideas, and it corrupts them. It really does. I think, you know, if we come from a place of love always, a place of heart space, you know, anything's achievable. Truly, anything's achievable. And with that mentality, that should be the foundation upon all of our conversations. Because without that, you know, we're coming from a place of delusion, a place of fantasy, and you know, people will justify, you know, what's going on today by saying, well, we are talking about the future. We're talking about all of these rights, these things that are important. They're very important, but I feel like we shouldn't be questioning why gay rights aren't, weren't legalized. I think, why were they illegal in the first place? Why is things like marijuana, a holistic plant, is a Schedule 1 substance? That means 3 categories. It's not medicinal. It's highly addictive.
Well, now it's
and
changing
negative
quickly.
to your effect.
I think Illinois has just legalized it.
Well, that's what's
just
happening.
Chicago.
That's what's happening. They're slowly giving us what should never have been taken away from us in the first place.
Yeah, that shouldn't have been. Like, if you look into the history of like marijuana, I'm sure a lot of you people know this, but it was basically all these corporations that realized that this plant can replace a lot of these businesses, so they didn't want that. So they went and demonized it.
And they demonized races and ethnicities.
Oh yeah,
they used it as a scapegoat, saying, "Well, this makes
even the word
blacks
marijuana
and Mexicans violent." You know, and we're doing the same thing today, just in a different way. You know,
They use the word marijuana, which is apparently the Spanish version for cannabis, to make it sound like this foreign, scary Mexicans are doing it, right?
Alien
They're bad.
drug.
Aliens. Donald Trump just posted that hundreds of, thousands of aliens are coming into the country. They don't even call them people, not immigrants, not foreigners. Now they're called aliens, which is very curious to me. This is just, kind of speculation, because the news is coming out talking about UFO sightings, the military, like official high-level people, like not some crackpots, filming the sky with a blurry camera. We're talking like the military is talking about UFOs now and how they're talking about seeing them. Yeah. So we're talking about aliens, right, or something, and Donald Trump's talking about aliens are invading the country. I don't know. I think in a few years, a lot of people...
It's interesting.
Yeah, I don't know.
Very interesting.
It's weird.
I mean, to draw some sort of conclusion with it, we'll just have to see. Time will tell.
Yeah.
But, back to what we're saying about, these issues and people, getting defensive when we're talking about we need to focus on, like, vertical farms, talk about, like, the future and how we're going to plan and having these conversations. But we're going to say, well, the news is talking about all these rights. But like I said, we should be talking about why they were taken away from us in the first place. These aren't issues we should be talking about. Yes, we should be talking about it. I know this sounds hypocritical, but we should be talking about why it was ever illegal in the first place.
See the bigger picture.
And exactly, see the bigger picture and realize that these issues should never have been a focal point in society. And it's ridiculous that the media and all of these, companies, and truly it is companies, the bathrooms and stuff, have allowed it to get to be such a focal point in society and distract us from the bigger picture. Like, yeah, gays having rights, people being allowed to smoke medicine and utilize it, is things that should be allowed. That should never have been a question in society. These are just simple moral things. People should be allowed to do whatever the fuck they want. Whatever they want.
Well, as long as it's not hurting
as
people.
it makes them happy and it's not hurting other people, right? And genuine happiness, I mean, not this superficial temporal happiness. But, with that in mind, we need to be talking about more of a utopian, idealistic society, and it gets so convoluted because, they're pitting on the media people against each other, people that need to find that common ground, that should be able to understand one another, that should be seeking to understand one another and tolerate one another.
People are basically wasting their energy focusing on things that don't matter. For instance, Donald Trump, right? He is a here today, gone tomorrow person, right? He's only going to be in office so long, a few more months or, a couple more years or 4 whatever.
Temporal.
He is a temporary thing. we're talking about permanent lives that extend way more than just beyond 4 or 8 years. So the fact that so many millions of people are focused on this one guy, who, I mean, what is he doing? All right, he's building a wall. He stopped certain countries from, we're not able, a travel ban, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, he says he's an asshole, you know, okay. I mean, people are so focused on this when there's so many bigger issues. Donald Trump is just a symptom of the problem with the system, right? He's not the top here. He's just a small piece of this, and he's just basically a victim of the world. I guess you could say we're all victims in that case, but you know, we are free. We do have a choice, right? So we're free range, is what I like to say. But yeah,
That's a good one. I think, yeah, no, we need to focus on more permanent things instead of temporary, like you said. And these are just trivial issues, you know, dictations of morality. That's important, but if it consumes your entirety, you know, it detracts and doesn't allow you to focus on those permanent things, you know, like the preservation of all humanity, you know, not an inclusive way. You know, we shouldn't be focusing on one race or the other prevailing. It's all or nothing, in my opinion, you know, and I'm focusing on the all. There is no nothing. You know what I'm saying? There's no chance for that. We need to survive. We will prevail. We are limitless, infinite beings on a search for unity, the oneness of the universe, and true love and happiness. And we can achieve this if you allow yourself to. Open your heart up and have these conversations. Talk love. Whatever conversation you have, if you could do one thing, just speak out of a place of love. Do unto others as you want done unto yourself.
That's
That is
golden
the
rule.
golden rule. If you live by that, if everyone lived by that, this world would be that utopian
there's
society.
a reason all these ancient cultures had this golden rule down, right? I mean, it should be something we're following.
Yeah.
And another example is now the government, NASA, says they're going to build a moon base in 5 years.
Yeah.
You know, we're talking about, you know, when we're talking about the government, U.S. government, they want to focus on the United States, right? But now we're talking about going to a whole other celestial body, or whatever they call it. And that's going to cost a lot of money, right? It's, who knows how much. So if we're going to focus that amount of money, energy, resources, human labor into something that's out of this world, literally, why don't we focus on, how about other countries first? Like our neighbors.
I mean, look at this. Look at where we are right now. Why do you want to run away from something so beautiful?
Right.
You know,
There's not much going on the moon, right?
breathe that in.
I mean, maybe there is.
Breathe that in. You know, it's a beautiful place. We need to persevere this earth, this mother that has given us a chance to experience this reality. This is a powerful place, and it can truly open up some mysterious wonders for your experience, for you to experience it, and for it to experience you, if you allow it to, and if we all come together and, you know, experience it together. It could be such a potential for beauty and love.
That's it. We got so much potential, and that's what keeps me going. The amount of potential I see in humanity, because I think deep down, you know, no one's perfect, right? So you could call that sin or whatever, but I think deep down we are good people. Almost everybody I've met doesn't want to kill people, doesn't want to, you know, cause harm any kind of bad way, overwhelmingly. So it's that potential I see, and the progress that we can make, what we can do. And that's what really keeps me going, inspires me to keep going. And I hope this conversation inspired you guys. I hope you could agree with some points, and, you know, if you disagree with other points, you know, feel free to leave a comment and discuss. Like, this is what we're here for. We don't want, you know, we're not saying we're all right. Like, it's okay to be wrong. In fact, being wrong means you learned something, which is a good thing.
It allows you to grow, you know, without finding conflict. Conflict is important as long as you grow as a result from it and don't digress, you know. Just always push forward in life. Always just make sure you take time in life to just sit back, take a deep breath, and experience.
And people are going to say we're being too idealistic with our solutions, you could say, and that's your perspective. We all have our own perspective.
This is ours.
Analyze why you think that way. You know, give us the reason. You could look at history, there's a lot of war and stuff, but things are changing really fast. Now we have information at our fingertips. It wasn't like before, hundreds of years ago, where everyone was illiterate, and, you know, we were just farmers, and the ruling class and the royalty, they controlled us. Like, now we have just as much knowledge as they do. It's all out there. So we're going to flip the table, you could say. We're going to change the way things are. And it's really up to us, the common people, the masses, the billions of people coming together to build a better world, and also trying to, if these psychopaths that want war all the time, we gotta stop these people, all right? They want to kill these people, John Bolton or whoever they are.
War is not necessary.
No.
War is not necessary.
No, it just causes more violence.
These things that, you were saying earlier, we're born with sin. I think if you look at it metaphorically, I guess you can understand where they're coming from. Yeah, I mean, we have these animalistic instincts. We are animals. We're a part of this planet just as much as any other creature here, right? But we have more potential to aspire and break away from that animalistic while still being integrated into a harmonious state with the planet. But we're not doing that right now. We're breaking away and going in another direction that's leaving a path of fire behind us. And we need to change that. We truly need to be not only more harmonious with each other, but more harmonious with the entire planet. Because this planet is a part of us just as much as we are a part of it. Let's not be a virus. Let's not be a bad case of the fleas. Yeah. Let's be flowers. Let us be a beautiful garden that has been graciously allowed to be planted here on this beautiful earth.
Yeah, we've got to realize our true power. We're so powerful, and people want to use that power and just play Candy Crush, or do stupid things. And it's interesting. We've become spectators. We could have this amazing life. We could become like these great people that you do amazing things, and people are grateful for that, and give us credit or whatever. But most people now, they just want to be spectators of that. They just want to sit back. They want to, watch the TV. Oh, those are my heroes. They're doing these amazing things, whether it's sports or they're even watching a fictional thing with TV. They want to be spectators. But we got to take action. Otherwise, you could just sit around your whole life but what's the point of that?
Be the change you wish to see.
That's it. I mean, if you want to do that, that's fine. And you could support people that are taking action, physically, by viewing them online or wherever else, or donating, or whatever you can do to help the people that you support.
It's an exchange of energy, whether or not it be your feedback or just your perception and your experiencing of them. It all helps, and as long as you're supporting something righteous, then you will live a righteous life, and be that change, let it be a tree that grows and you continue the branches on your own life path. This is the human life. We're not all a forest of trees. I think as a unified human society, we are just one big beautiful tree. We need to allow each other and that tree to grow big and strong.
And as humans, human tribes, we kind of thrived. We kind of made it in this world by being in a group. We are people that need to work together and help each other. That's how we built civilization. Because one human on their own, there was only so much you could do. Even just managing a farm with one person is going to be difficult to feed yourself. And, so we do need to work together and help each other. And society these days, it's made it so we could live life completely independent, in a way, from other humans, right? You could just be at home. You could, just leave the house to get your groceries, or, just order it in, right? Everything you can buy online now. You get the grocery store shipped to your house. So you could live your entire life, basically, without ever even having to interact with another human. So, we got to see the consequences of what that is. It's causing even more division.
We're out here. We're in the beautiful nature. We're on this lovely, lovely bed of green. We're taking in a beautiful, beautiful bunch of fresh breaths of air. Feeling that oxygen, coursing through our veins, that life energy through our body. We're having these lovely conversations, and everyone can do that too. And I definitely but I definitely, I recommend you try doing that as well.
Hey, we're feeling the energy of nature right now, but even in the city, I feel certain energy where it's just the human energy of people, alive and active and moving.
Like super
even that is also inspiring just as much as the serenity of nature.
Truly. It's a whole bunch of different experiences on this beautiful planet. And it can be the most beautiful thing. Or it could be the most...
And it's up to you. Yeah. It's up to you and us, everyone.
It's up to you and everyone.
It's your choice.
It's our choice. Come together.
Yeah, come together right now. Okay?
Boom, boom,